um, the first workhorse we built just as leftover parts that didn't seem like they should go together, and then we started looking at all these pictures of well-known players' guitars that had been modified and hot rodded to do a certain job, and it just seemed like a good idea, to make a guitar that looked like it had been heavily modified. Yeah, we just wanted to make a guitar that looked like it had been modified and that it had been gone through a lot of changes in its life and all that to make a certain sound or a certain need.
It kind of started out like almost like a joke.
It was
in
a
a way,
joke,
because we took an odd body and some odd parts and just kind of laid it all out, and we thought, oh ha ha, look at that, that's crazy. Who would ever want that? And then we started thinking about it and really started putting all the parts together and gathering things up and bringing the concept to reality, and then it was kind of a joke, but then it turned out to be a great guitar,
Yeah.
and a lot of people really liked it because it was so different and so unique and so heavily modified.
Well, the first one wound up, the first, I guess the first one of the one that we're doing now with the P90, it probably had, 3 or 4 different pickups in it before it had that one?
Yeah.
Because we just kept trying different pickups just to see, it had a Firebird pickup in it, and it had a Jazzmaster pickup in it, and we tried any pickup we had laying around, put it in, wasn't sounding like, nope, that's not the sound. And we put that P90 in it, and it was like, yeah, that's it. that's
really cool.
the sound.
Yeah.
And made it a fun guitar because it doesn't sound like anything else. I mean, you're putting a Gibson pickup that you don't think of being in a Tele style guitar. So.
I think that's part of the attraction of the guitar, is that it's so odd and so out of place and kind of crude in a sense of its own, which makes it kind of appealing in an odd way, But it actually turned out to be a very usable, playable, really good sounding instrument. So we're very proud of it. Oh, we came up with all kinds of silly names like Mutt and Parts Guitar and just all kinds of silly things. But
we asked our customers on one of the forums. We asked them to suggest names, and some of them you couldn't say in mixed company. Some of them were pretty crude, and but then somebody suggested the name Workhorse just because. Here in the U.S., a workhorse is anything that is maybe not attractive, but it does the job. And you can have any kind of piece of equipment or an old car or something or an old truck that looks horrible, but it gets you there. It does its job. And so it just kind of seemed like, well, that works. That describes the guitar. So. And that was the whole reason. Because of the route for the Tele pickup being at that angle, it made sense to put it at the same angle as the Tele bridge pickup, and it looked really cool that way. So, that was pretty much the whole thought behind that. Was the pickup sounded good in the guitar, and it just looked really cool turned that way.
Magically just worked out, and kind of the concept of not making it look like if you modified a guitar and you didn't have the special tools and the routers to do it, but you wanted to put that pickup in there.
Well, I think a good point is that when we started, I started doing guitar repairs and refinishing in 1987, and when RS first got together, when Scott and I first got together in the mid 90s, we didn't go into this to build guitars. we were doing repairs, and we were doing restorations of old guitars, and it was I think 2001 or 2002 that our customers started asking us, if you can do all these repairs to old guitars and you can do
Finishes.
the finishes that look old, why can't you build a guitar that looks old? And so we kind of went at it from a different a different outlook than a lot of companies do. A lot of companies start off to be a guitar company. Ours comes from the fact that we've worked on thousands of vintage guitars. They're not, when we make a Blackguard, it's because we've probably restored 200 real Blackguards.
Yeah.
And I think that,
or more.
And I think that makes a difference, because we have more of a feel for what made that old guitar, what made it different, what it made it special, than a lot of people, because a lot of people that are building guitars now and doing aged guitars probably have never even played a real old one.
Yeah.
They're doing copies of a guitar that they may have been lucky enough to play one, So I think that helps us.
Yeah. Well, it actually got started when, like Roy said, when we started off doing the refinishing and repairs on the vintage instruments. A lot of times a customer would want the guitar refinished to match the degree of aging that's already on his parts and his hardware. So some of the finishes were kind of lightly aged, and then if somebody brought us a guitar in and all the hardware and all the pieces and the neck and everything were really old and had, really dirty and rusty and showed a lot of mileage on them, then we knew that putting a shiny new finish on there wasn't going to work, so we had to kind of find that balance and base it off of all the existing parts and hardware. So that's what kind of got us into the different levels of Mint and Played But Loved and Under the Bed and Road Warrior. So it was just kind of however it fit best with the whole guitar as a whole, so it looked balanced. So.
And then that's when we figured out, we do have two different formulas of finish we use, and that's because to achieve the aged look, the aged finishes, the finish needs to be to become very hard. It needs to be very brittle. And so none of the finishes that were in the market did that. They were all designed to not crack, not dent easily. And so we had to find different products that we could mix in house to make a finish to do the aged guitars, and then we found a different formula that we liked for the mint guitars and the stuff that we didn't want to age, because it's that's the bad thing about lacquer, good or bad depending on how you look at it, is back in the 60s and 70s when they were doing guitars all lacquer, there were a lot of guitars that would crack when they were still at the store. And then how do you sell a brand new guitar that's got cracks in it? So that's why a lot of companies went to adding plasticizers and stuff to the finish, so it would be more elastic and it wouldn't crack and
stay prettier longer.
Exactly. That's true, and
Yeah.
the other not only is it a different kind of finish, but when you go to the Road Warrior or the Played But Loved, the finish, because we want it to sink in the grain, we want it to look dry. There's not as much grain filler on those guitars, there's not as much paint on those guitars, the finish is much thinner. When you have to do a guitar to be Under the Bed or Mint, where it has to effectively look like a new guitar, it has to be slick, you just have to put more finish on it and more grain filler and everything like that, so you get this perfectly
Mirror
smooth
finish, yeah.
But they don't. When you do that, they just don't sound as good. I mean, you know, they still sound. I still think that because of the formula we use and how we paint, I still think our mint guitars probably sound as good or better than anything. But they don't sound as good if you compare them to, say, you know, a Road Warrior,
Yeah.
which is because
Very thin.
Very thin.
The body wood is more resonant that way.
I'd say probably right now 20 to 24, somewhere in that range per month. We
Gosh,
did
such a big variety.
It varies. I think last year we did a little over 200 restorations in a year. So,
and that's not counting the guy who comes in who just wants new pickups or new electronics or
new frets
or new frets or new hardware or anything like that. So it's such a big variety. When you say repairs, you know, that could be almost anything.
And then there's the guitars like the guitars that we restored for Leonard Skinner after the Nashville flood, or the guitars we did for Rich Robinson after Hurricane Sandy. You know, the two Rich Robinson guitars were here for over a year.
Yeah.
You know,
a very long time.
The 335, his 335, literally, there was not, when we were done, there was not one factory glue joint in the whole guitar. You know, every single piece had to be taken apart on that guitar, cleaned, you know, resized or replaced, put back together. So it literally was just building it would have been easier to build a new 335 than it was to put that guitar back together. But we're very proud.
It was a very sentimental piece to him.
It was, and that's they'd been turned down by a lot of people. Nobody would take that guitar on, and you know, we took it on just because, and we told them there was no guarantee that it could be saved because it was in such bad shape. But you know, it was a challenge for the company to see what we could do, you know, see how far we could go, and like I said, we're really proud of the fact that
we were able to pull it off.
We were able to pull it off, and when he got it back, and because we never got to see the guitar before it was damaged. We didn't know how good a guitar it was, how it felt, anything. All we could do is go by pictures. And when we got it back, and he called up, and after he'd used it for 2 shows, he called up and he said it's like nothing ever happened to the guitar. Yeah. You know, he said it's like it always was, and you know, that's all you can hope for.
Well, on his gold top, we also, when we stripped the finish off of his gold top, I took every piece that I stripped off of the gold finish and I saved it in a cup and gave it to Roy, and Roy mixed it with lacquer thinner and was able to reformulate the original gold finish that came off of his guitar. So it's actually has its real finish back on it again. So we can be very, very picky sometimes, but anytime you can go the extra mile like that for the customer, it usually helps out a lot. It makes a difference, you know.
And we try to do that. I think we try to do that on our guitars. Yeah. You know, when we build our guitars,
always looking to improve.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, it's easy to pick up the phone and order parts. You know, there's so many parts out on the market, but we don't do that. I mean, you know, our neck plates are made from the metal we want just for us. Our bridges, we went through six different prototypes of that bridge, 6 different materials on our telly bridge before we wound up with what we have. I mean, we don't use a single stock pickup. There's not one pickup that we use that anybody else could pick up the phone and call and order. I mean, they're all custom made. They're all custom made for us. You know,
capacitors.
Yeah, capacitors, our pots, everything, and you know, our guitars are not. You know, there are cheaper guitars on the market, but you know, we want our guitar. We want somebody to pick our guitars up and go, it's different.
Yeah.
You know, it's better than that. Yeah, the Gibson Custom Shop.
That's who sent Leonard Skinner to us,
That's
too.
well. That's how Rich found out, because when Gibson, one of the guys at the Gibson Custom Shop knew that when our shop flooded, we didn't lose any guitars. We had to go through and restore all the guitars that were in house at the time. He knew we dealt with flood guitars before, and he asked if we would be willing to work on the Leonard Skinner guitars. And so when they sent them to us, and we didn't lose a single guitar. We never lost a single guitar for Leonard Skinner. We recovered every one of them. Every one of them went back out on the road. And then when Rich's guitars got damaged, his tech contacted Gibson and said, "Can you restore these guitars?" And Gibson said, "No, we don't do that, but here's who you need to call." And
pretty good referral.
Yeah, it definitely was. And like I said, the thing is that, and I it's a sad thing that it took our building flooding to make us
to get the attention.
Yeah. This building had to get underwater before we could learn how to do it. But now we're considered to be the place you send stuff when it's messed up in a flood.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah. I'm going to have to say one of our I've got a couple of different basses that I like. I like to play bass, so I like, oh my gosh, just the good old Contour 59 is really cool. And then what's the P-Bird has probably got to be my favorite right now. Love the sound of it, the old Thunderbird style pickups and everything. It's got a real big boomy round sound to it that I really like. And then I like our hot rod guitars and our workhorses.
Well, you've got a hot rod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's mine as far as here.
And, as far for me, hands down my favorite bass, and probably my favorite thing we do is the Contour 54. That bass, I couldn't be happier with how it came out.
Sounds really good.
But on the in the guitars, probably my favorite is the EC. I love everything about that. I'm a big fan of one pickup guitars. I'm a big fan of Les Paul Jr. style guitars, and I just like that guitar because it sounds great, and it doesn't look like everything else.
Yeah.
So that'd be my two favorites.
It kind of changes though from day to
Yeah,
day.
yeah. Well,
So many guitars to choose from, and so many ideas in your head.
Well, I was going to say, if anybody had asked me last year what my favorite guitar would have been, it would have been, favorite guitar would have been the Rockabilly.
Yeah.
And
mine last year probably been the TV or the Stealth.
And probably my favorite bass would have been the Slab. So
Yeah.
I mean, but every time you come out with something new, you're constantly coming out with something different. And sometimes, if anybody could see the number of guitars that we do that are different, I mean, there's probably what do we count? I think there's 35 projects or something.
Yeah.
There's not a week that goes by that one of us doesn't go back there and start a new build. I got an idea. I'm gonna try this.
Yeah.
And you build it and you paint it and you put it together, and sometimes you go, that's got to be a new model, and sometimes you go, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
That didn't work at all.
Yeah.
and they wind up laying around and
Research and development.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you've always got to keep trying to find something.
Yeah.
I
I guess we're what you call, since we love guitars so much, people have called us guitarded before. So we love guitars so much, so yeah, we should put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
We are guitarded.
Some of us more than others.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's different.
Being right in the middle you know, of the United States. The climate's more balanced that way.
We're surrounded by trees.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, a lot of the woods that we use, I mean, you know, a lot of the woods we use come from here. So, you know, that has to help. And
EPA standards.
you know? Yeah, that's when, you know, one good thing is we can, you know, being in a small town and more of a country feel. You know, it's a whole lot easier for us to do what we do. I mean, you know, you couldn't go to, there's no way we could go to LA and spray the paint we're spraying, you know.
Yeah.
Even though Kentucky makes us be careful about how we filter it and how we get rid of it and everything like that, they still don't have a problem with us using it.
Right.
You know, in California, you can't even open a can of the
Yeah.
paint we're spraying. And so that helps. And you know, and I think you know, I think, like, you know, I think the climate helps around here a lot too.
Definitely something special about it, though. I think I agree with you. There's definitely something special about the area, you know, which is something mystical and magical that we really can't explain, but we'll roll with it, you know, and make the best of it, you know. We're very, very lucky that way. We can't wait to come over and visit. You know, we're so fascinated by it, and we're very grateful and honored that we're so wonderfully accepted over there too, because we know that your culture, you have high standards, and for us to be able to meet those standards and expectations is really cool and rewarding for us too, to be accepted, you know, all the way on the other side of the world. It's you know, it's kind of overwhelming, and it's exciting, and just like we were talking about in our meeting this morning with certain refinements and stuff, all these little things, we really take all that stuff to heart, and we'll really, you know, strive to make those changes. So whatever we can do to appeal, you know, to the Japanese market and to please them also is what we desire to do.
It's an amazing thing for Scott and I, being from Kentucky, to think that someone in Japan would want anything that we do. That's, I think, is an amazing thing, and that's
it's pretty cool.
I think
it's very cool.
But I think it's really funny that a lot of people talk to us and they'll see what's on Facebook and stuff like that, and that I've had a lot of our customers that go, you know, how does it feel to be known better in Japan than you are in Winchester?
Yeah.
And you know, there's a newspaper story about us, and it says Winchester's best kept secret is no secret to the rest of the world.
Right.
It's funny. There are people that live 2 houses down from here that don't know what we do.
Yeah.
You know, but so we're very proud that we're accepted in Japan. That's huge for us.
Yeah, it is huge. Yeah. That's great. We're very honored. So I want to do more. So keep the ideas coming. Blaze, do you have anything to say to the wonderful Japanese customers?
I'm Joey. I'm the guy that ages all the parts for all of the guitars that come to you in Japan.
I'm Billy from RS Guitarworks. Hi. I do all the electronics here at RS and a lot of the guitar setups.
Monty Weaver. I'm the painter and work in the wood shop here.